This flew last in September of last year. It's still under annual. And it's got the Lerone rotary, and it came with a brand And the interesting part of history of this was considered a single-seat advanced trainer. Some of them did have guns on them. This one never did. But it was the only American-built aircraft to sport a rotary radial engine. We liked our V8s and our inlines.
Sure. It's strange that this is considered a trainer to me.
Yep. Well, it must be easier to fly than the pup because they fly it, and no one wants to fly the pup.
That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard.
It's got a much bigger rudder, much more authority.
What are you tearing apart in there, Jay?
I'm trying to put things together.
Yeah. Had to
I don't think this switch is hooked up though.
Are you sure?
No, there's no wires in the back. I think this is the actual one here.
It's just for looks?
Yeah, the big Frankenstein switch is just for looks, I think.
Does it have a more modern?
It has a mag switch.
Yeah, okay.
Wow, that mechanism's crazy.
Yeah.
It's weird too, the way that the wings taper out, which is backwards. Usually if you think of like an SE-5A or something,
Right.
Go the other way, or the Pup or any of them. It's like, they got the wings on backwards. There's some great video of this flying.
This hardware is crazy.
That's the aileron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Huh.
Do not grab. It's cast oil, goop everywhere.
Find anything, Pete?
No, and he ran into Bruce, and we drove around in this golf cart a little bit.
There's your air intakes on both sides.
We saw one I-beam that could be cut down, maybe. But it was
Fuel is also fed in back there.
Much work to get to it.
Oil comes through here. Massive oil supply. It's a hollow crank shaft, so all that fuel air mixture gets sucked up to the engine and thrown up here.
Yeah, that
The whole thing
I
spins.
find that amazing.
Yeah. They made thousands of them. They ran all the way through. All the way through the First World War.
So how, assuming that you might know, but how long does it take to prime this thing then to get all that fuel and oil up through that center?
So to prime it, you take a squeeze bottle of gas and turn it slowly, and when the exhaust port opens, you squirt it into the cylinder.
No
and
kidding.
Then you'll turn it a couple of times to vaporize that fuel.
Yeah.
Ignition on. It'll start first time, pretty much.
Wow, that's a process.
Yeah. It's a well-known process. That's what you do. I love the open ball bearing races on these intake.
Yeah.
Sorry, on the exhaust port here.
What am I looking at on the spark plugs and these retaining wires here?
That's the spark lead.
That is actually
That
the
is
spark lead.
Yep. This is your points. There's the actual point. So as this passes that, the spark jumps across. So it just ignites 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, well, pretty simple.
Yeah, very simple. These drive the gears drive the oil pump and the magneto.
Uh-huh.
It's only one plug per cylinder, whereas aircraft typically have redundant systems. This
Right.
one has one. Later engines had two on the same side, just for redundancy.
I see. Well, that castor oil just gets into everything, doesn't it?
That's nasty stuff. We've cleaned the cow. That's as good as it's going to get. This is the Duramold airplane. This is the prototype Duramold plane. This process was, the patents were bought by Howard Hughes to make the Hercules, the spruce goose, using this process.
I
Without this
see.
airplane, the spruce goose probably wouldn't exist.
And
It came to us with a big radial hanging on the front, which we've cut off because this is the correct engine, but we don't have the engine mounts, so we're mocking all this up, building new engine mounts. That'll be the next thing to 3D print. To put the original V12 air-cooled engine back on it.
so when you're putting a fresh mock-up on an aircraft build like this, how do you get the thrust angle correct?
It's straight. We've got the plans.
That's just straight off the center line. It's just.
Right off the center line.
Oh, okay.
So we got some we've actually got stacks of blueprints, but the center line on some of the other pictures is absolutely straight. So no
I see. I see.
And then so these are
Mounting?
Yeah, this actually that's a better example here. These are the rubber grommets, and then there's a washer on either side of them. That's your vibration mount. Then this will be welded to a piece that's welded to this, and that's where the engine
okay.
hangs on.
I see. All right.
So these were Tim's been machining all those for us. And, I'm going to draw them all up, and we're going to assemble it all, 3D print it. You may be 3D printing it, or Tony.
No worries.
And,
No worries.
And then we'll send them off to fabricators and build them up.
Well, for some of these print jobs, you know, like that small piece I made for you last night, that takes about 3.5, 4 hours to print.
Really?
Yeah, it takes a long time.
Yeah, surprisingly long. But hey, you know, that's fine. It's a hell of a lot easier than trying to make it yourself.
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll do the same for this one rather than try and make them out of plywood or whatever.
Is that prototype piece you made for it gonna work?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
I was looking at the piece this morning, where'd it go?
It goes left and right, one there and one here.
Oh, it's a corner brace?
Yeah, yeah.
So this is obviously just one side, but this will mount on here, and then a frame that looks like this, obviously bigger, welds in here, and that's the rear engine mount.
Okay.
And then there's a straight one that comes across and wraps around for the front, and then the piece that arches over for there, and then there's just two rods that go straight up to here on the back. Yeah. But we can just send this to Bridge City Steel and say, flatten it, cut it, and bend it,
So this is a 3D print?
Yeah.
And make a left-hand version.
and make two of these, one opposite from the other. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we can do this for this is just